What are you starting to dislike more as you get older? What is not the flex that people think it is? What eventually disappeared and no one noticed? CD/DVD drives and laptops, toys and cereal boxes. What I wouldn't give for the toys to come back in the cereal boxes, I want my Star Wars lightsaber spoons. I want them back. I'm not spending $30 per spoon on eBay. Somewhere along the way, 9 to 5 turned into 8 to 5. I never see swarms of monarch butterflies anymore. Those rubber bands shaped like things that you wore on your wrist. You mean silly bands? Yeah, they stayed in middle school and elementary school. What do you mean? Gaming consoles at McDonald's. I'm sure a lot of them got stolen, which is probably why, but my favorite illegal streaming websites. Someone answering the phone at businesses. I answer the phone at my day job all the time, so I don't know what you're talking about. What are some really dangerous things most people don't realize are dangerous? A few inches of moving water over a roadway. A lot of people end up with liver failure from overusing Tylenol. It's not harmless. Don't treat it like Skittles. Garage door springs. A full force punch to the face. People have died from a single punch. It's like that show, you know, like one punch. That one. Eating grapefruit while on medication. Grapefruit has so many bad interactions with medication, ranging from rendering the medication ineffective to toxicity. Walking up or down the stairs. The most common accident at home is falling down the stairs. Putting your feet on the dashboard. It is extremely dangerous. Sitting all day. You need to keep your mouth shut, HQer. Don't call me out like this. What's a sign of childhood trauma? Always saying sorry, feeling guilty for speaking up, finding someone perfect for you and then systematically sabotaging it. Hyper-independence. Can't be let down if you never ask for anything in the first place. Difficulty making relationships, fears of being judged, and low self-esteem. Over-explaining. Unable to forgive themselves for small mistakes. Hyper-vigilance. I am always scared that people are mad at me. Always. What is a telltale sign that someone is a selfish person? Doesn't think they're wrong in the slightest bit. They can't shoulder any bit of responsibility. They respond how worse their situation is when you're sharing problems with them. No try for help or listening, just trying to draw attention on their side. If they always talk about themselves, they bring nothing to the potluck but are first in line. For me, it's people who listen to loud TikTok in public, especially in relatively silent places. They don't remember the times people helped them, but remember clearly all the times that they've helped others. Complaining at work to coworkers doing your work for you while you complain. They feel no remorse for how they've hurt others. How is everyone feeling about Donald Trump officially being under arrest? When I tell you I'm throwing a party, I'm throwing a goddamn party. That guy from Home Alone 2? Wow, just goes to show you can really never tell. Great. Now let's start going after all politicians and other government officials. So real. There's a lot of politicians on both sides of the coin that need to be behind bars. This is not a solely Republican issue. There are some freaking messed up Democrats out there, man. Annoyed Donald Trump is back in the news. Nobody is above the law. That's what we are told, and now it's time to prove it. I'm pretty sure my parents are livid and probably think I'm behind it somehow. You're right, hopeful_relative_494. Somehow, this is your fault. It's a good appetizer, but I want a full course meal. His arrest is pretty meaningless. He'll either delay forever or plead out and pay some minor fine. Nobody should be above the law. Would you vote for Jon Stewart if he ran for president? If so, why? If so, why not? This is the premise of Man of the Year 2006, starring Robin Williams. Let the man help animals on his sanctuary in peace. No, because I live in Brazil. Why not? Having a Green Lantern as a president would be pretty swell. No, can we all be done voting for celebrities? Idiocracy was supposed to be satire, not a prophecy. All I'm saying is, if I remember correctly, 2 celebrities have been elected president. Which side voted for both of them? It's probably nothing. Reddit is insane. No, he's a comedian. Stop voting based on personality. What's the hardest would you rather question you've ever been asked? Personally, my favorite and hardest is, would you rather have unlimited bacon but no more video games? Or would you rather have games, unlimited games, but no games? To this day, I still can't figure it out. Would you rather have a horizontal butt crack or a vertical mouth? Ugh, I don't know. That is a really hard one. I would probably pick horizontal butt crack because then I can just sit in chairs sideways. No, I can't. Shoot, I don't know. Would you rather have the ability to effortlessly run at 100 miles per hour or fly at 10? Fly at 10 probably, because unless I'm burning calories like out the wazoo running at 100 miles per hour, because I could be pulled over for speeding on any major highway, you know? So I'd probably fly. Would you rather never enjoy music again or never enjoy food again? I'd rather never enjoy food again. I don't think that's a hard one for me, because music I need. Food is just kind of a luxury a lot of the time, so if I had to just drink Soylent for the rest of my life versus means never listen to music ever again, then I'd take that. Would you rather be constantly sticky all over your entire body forever or constantly itchy all over your entire body forever? I simply cannot choose. I cannot choose and I will not choose. A nipple-sized dick or dick-sized nipples. Ugh. I could pick dick-sized nipples and then I could just cut the nipples off? I don't know. Would you rather have legs as long as your fingers or fingers as long as your legs? These are terrible. Would you rather poop a pineapple or pee a grape? Okay, so pooping a pineapple, first of all, both of them are too big for the intestine they're coming out of, or for the orifice they're coming out of. That being said, one of them is just round and the other one is spiky. So I'm gonna go with pee a grape no matter how much it hurts. Had someone at a rave ask, would you rather give the first 90% of a job or the last 10%? I feel like as a straight man, I can't answer this question properly without seeming like a not straight man. The last 10% probably. What's the first sign that a movie is gonna be bad? If it has Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in it. Kidding, of course, kinda. Characters that think they're funny because they speak loudly. If there are multiple trailers for a comedy movie, but they use the same joke in all of them, it's a remake of something that didn't suck. It's advertised as one of the best movies of the year, and it's late January. When it's a comedy and the main character is a legendary actor playing a dad or grandpa. If you've ever walked out of a cinema because the film was so bad, what one was it? I left Frozen when I was 11 because I was scared. I don't know if I've ever seen Frozen, so I wouldn't know what scene would have caused that. I couldn't watch E.T. because that alien dude gave me nightmares. That alien dude, you mean E.T. I walked out of 28 Days Later, not because it was bad. I was 9 years old and snuck in, and it was freaking me the hell out. Watched it years later and enjoyed it. Epic movie. Wasn't epic at all. I literally walk out of the cinema every time I see a movie. Green Lantern. Even Ryan Reynolds acknowledges how bad it is. Pacific Rim Uprising. Worst sequel ever made. Downsizing. That horrible movie with Matt Damon. I was actually speechless at how bad it was. Ladies, what would you do if you went home with a guy and he had a race car bed? He's going the distance. He's going for speed. We're definitely using protection. At the very least, a helmet and a 5-point harness. Dude, your bed is a car. Yeah, but it's a freaking sweet car, grandma's boy. Call shotgun. You went home with Milhouse's dad? Ugh. Once I went home with a guy and all he had was a hammock. A hammock? Propose to him, marry him, divorce him, take race car bed, and live happily ever after. Excitedly say, Kerchow! What was discontinued but you miss like hell and you wish came back? The dollar menu at every fast food joint. Pizza Hut lunch buffets. 90s Nickelodeon. Legends of the Hidden Temple. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Double Dare. Pete and Pete, etc. The blue raspberry sour Skittle. They act like it never existed, but I know better. The YouTube dislike button. This is corporate cowardice. Guys, hit the like button if you wish the dislike button was back. McDonald's snack wraps. If McDonald's doesn't bring this back in the next year or two, I'm gonna be actually dumbfoundedly surprised. Because good lord, that was like my go-to order. I would go to McDonald's every day if they brought this back and get snack wraps. I would get 2 snack wraps. I would do the grilled chicken, the barbecue one. I don't really like iceberg lettuce, so I would probably get it without that. Maybe carry some spinach in my car to add it in or something. Good Lanta, I want those back. The optimism of the 1990s. Good quality products that are designed to last. What's something that changed and disappeared because of COVID that still hasn't returned? My sense of time is messed up, like if I skip 3 years of my life. We are experiencing higher than normal call volume. The wait time at your local emergency department is 4 hours and 53 minutes. Are you sure you need to be here? House prices seem like they'll be forever unattainable now. That's all I want to do in life is buy a house, man. If I could buy a house, I would die happy. Me giving a crap about my career. I'm a public high school teacher and students' attention spans are still very short relative to before. 24-hour stores and restaurants. They are probably way less than half as there used to be. Yeah, my local Walmart used to be 24 hours before COVID and has not changed back yet. But my local IHOP is 24/7 again. Will I ever go? Probably not. People's patience. My business of 17 years. I'm still working on getting over it. I had no idea that I would grieve it. Men of Reddit, what's the best response to, haha, you have a small I'm late to this, but I had a friend from South Texas that always said, yeah, but it's cute and I grew it myself. That's the best answer. Thanks, I got it half off. Hey, my eyes are up here. I was in the pool. You want the money or not? Bro, it's not much, but it's honest work. Who told you? Your sister or your mom? Only when I look at you. What weird flex are you proud of? I have a sock drawer that's 72 of the same exact sock. I never have to fold them or dig around to make a matching pair. I got my braces off 7 years ago and I've worn my retainer every night since. I have hugged a penguin. I got spit on by a walrus this once. Went to the dentist for the first time in 5 years last week for a cleaning and checkup. No cavities. When I was a little kid, multiple doctors said I would never be able to speak and that I would need assisted living for the rest of my life. Now I'm 16 and capable of taking care of myself, and when I'm able to speak perfectly fine, other than a slight stutter when I get really anxious. I've planted over 2 million trees. I built and installed a bookshelf doorway with a hidden door handle myself. It leads into a room dedicated only to Dungeons and Dragons. Childhood dream achieved. Oh my god, please let me have this. I want that so bad. If I had my own house, I would literally do that. I would be able to host D&D every week for me and my bros. I just need a house. Hey guys, if every single one watching this video donated $1 or maybe even like $5 to the Give Says Mason a House Foundation, I could buy a house. So consider that. That being said, no, I'm kidding. I'm not asking for money on an Ask EmKay video. I got a pity pat from Obama. This was ages ago when he was just still a senator from Illinois. I got a job at a local radio station as a reporter for news in the area. Obama was speaking at a community college in our area, and I was told to listen to his address and ask relevant questions afterwards. I had never done that before or since, and I barely listened, and at the end he met with the press, which was me and a local newspaper guy. After he finished with the other guy, he looks at me and says, "What can I do for you?" My mind totally went blank, and I just stood there staring at him. This went on for a little too long, and eventually he reaches out a hand, pats me gently on the shoulder, and goes, "It's okay," and then walked off. Lol. Bro, you fumbled the bag. What was the biggest lie you believed? I had dumped some gasoline in an Arizona tea bottle to get a fire started. My sister seen me pouring on a fire, and she freaking thought Arizona iced tea was flammable. I went along with it saying, "Yeah, you didn't know that? That's why it's called Arizona, because how hot it gets there." She was 20 years old. Around 5 years later, we were camping, and she says, "Who's got some Arizona? I can use it to start this campfire." And I looked at her and didn't understand. She explained I told her it's flammable, and I had no recollection. She says she has been telling everyone for the last 5 years how bad it is for you and how flammable it is. If Arizona iced tea is bad for you and flammable, I'm dying instantly, because I can drink Arizona iced tea like it's water. Not a sponsor, of course. Unless Arizona hit my line. My dad got sick of having to listen to the kids shows I watched as a child, so he told me the Power Rangers and Barney the Dinosaur died in the car crash with Princess Diana, so I couldn't watch them anymore. I didn't actually question it until I was quite old, embarrassingly. Our family were poor and lived in a house where the ceiling plaster had bowed so much that it bowed down, bulging out. My dad told me that there was a World War II bomb buried in the ceiling, believed it for years, and absolutely terrified the entire time. Outside of dumb lies your parents tell you as kids, my friend who worked at a gas station with a big food station that has some ground beef items told me they used kangaroo meat for their ground beef because it was cheaper than cow. I am gullible with my friends. That my dad moved out and rented a room in the house of a female friend for tax reasons. Oh no. The microwave will explode if I put my face too close to it while it's heating food. That adults knew what they were doing. What was the wildest way you found out you were being cheated on? He was drunk at his 21st, and while joking around with his friends, he started listing off all the women he'd slept with in the last year. I was standing right there, and we'd been dating for 2 years at this point. He apparently wrote an address wrong, and the love letter he wrote was returned to our home. It was a great way to come back from vacation. Her parents told me. W parents. Not me, but my dad. His girlfriend at the time had been cheating on him with his friend, who didn't know they were in a relationship. My dad found out when his friend told him he was gonna propose to her. Had a dog who would chew up my wife's panties whenever we had sex. After 7 years of marriage and 2 kids, the sex was very infrequent. And then one day, I found a pair of chewed panties. Then a few days later, another pair. Well, somebody's having sex, and it ain't me. Me neither, bro. Me neither. We've been married a couple of months. Had a gut feel that something was going on. Checked her phone when she was in the shower, which I'd never done before. Yeah, she was frickin' her ex for the previous few months and said nothing. Just passed her phone to her in the shower with messages open. Then came the begging. All her belongings were out on the footpath an hour later. Never heard from her again until had get divorce papers signed. Hardest day, but probably the best day of my life. Don't cheat, it's not that hard. You wake up to find you're the last person on earth. What do? Last person on earth stuff you wouldn't understand. Hold an election, win 100% of the votes, become president, and move to the White House. Every month, make a poll, always get 100% approval rating. You can vote in your own poll? Hey, good for you. Go back to sleep. Panic attack. Go to the nearest supermarket and eat all the cheese. All the cheese. Comment last on every YouTube video. Go to every adult store in my area and try everything they have. Get to a big house that has a lot of solar panels. Download things as fast as possible since the internet won't last long, and get a frick ton of canned food, pasta, and flour. Also learn how to make bread. What's the perfect response to someone calling you ugly? My classic go-tos has always been, coming from you, I'll take that as a compliment. I may be ugly, but at least I ain't got no money. That's right. I might be ugly, but bro, you're saying that when you have 0 money spreads. And you still married me. Yes, please degrade me more. The more you can ham it up, the better. Well, you look exactly like me. So, when my 9-year-old daughter tries it on me, at a job interview, I got told, "You're not that big," to which I replied, "You're not that small." That was the end of the interview. Just a smile at them and a chuckle. Tell them, ugly recognizes their own kind. What is the most unexpected thing you've seen on live TV? In the UK, a TV personality and her son, who is disabled, were on a live TV show. From what I recall, the topic being discussed was online bullying. When her son was asked about what to say to these bullies, his response was, "Hello, you Absolutely classic British TV right there. The O.J. Simpson Bronco chase. They interrupted the NBA playoffs to show it live instead of the game. It was surreal. The reporter standing at a 45-degree angle, holding onto the street sign for dear life in a wind and rainstorm as he was reporting. And the two dudes casually walking past, not leaning whatsoever and without difficulty. Oh, you know, you gotta ham it up for the camera. I was watching soccer a few years ago and the referee stopped play for a foul. The slow-mo replay showed the fouling player grab the other player's shorts as he stepped across him and used them to try to stop his momentum. The shorts stretched in a long way, exposing his penis, which then proceeded to flap around in slow-mo for about 5 seconds, whilst the commentators pretended it wasn't happening. I don't even know what to say about that. Mike Tyson biting Evander Holyfield's ear. During the 2010 winter blizzard in the UK, while the reporter was talking live on location, a random dude was running around in the background wearing nothing but swimming speedos. I don't know if there's footage of it anymore, but it was wild. Lamau. Identical twins of Reddit. Who owns a pet after living separately? What was your pet's reaction when it saw two owners? My identical twin's dog has never reacted to me in a way that implied that he was confused. The human babies are a different story. I actually read a sad story about this a few years ago on Quora. A guy's identical twin brother had died and he inherited his brother's dog. The dog did not think the twin was his owner, except one day he happened to put on one of his deceased brother's pants. The dog came up to him and immediately started doing the wiggly happy dance until he spoke, and then it was a light switch turned off and he became a barely tolerated stranger again. It was actually kind of heartbreaking to read. I got a cat. Cat decided and only liked my dad, period. No exception. Well, except for my dad's twin brother. Loved him as much as my dad, but never confused them. My mother is one of twins. Linus the cat I had as a child was a complete worrier, having been traumatized at a young age and being fearful of new people, yet he was the sweetest cat to us. Linus approached my aunt as soon as she arrived and cuddled up against her leg on that occasion. He was being scratched by her, and everything was going well until he noticed my mother. Start with very fast head turns back and forth, then race up to the stairs and hide for hours. Poor infant. This time it's a twin. My dog adores me, but he hates my sister, which is strange. For instance, he growls at her when she approaches and hardly lets her touch him. He isn't like this to the rest of the family or friends, so I don't know why. Perhaps he believes she is a fraud? We have no idea. My dog was so confused at first, but he eventually realized that he had two people to give him twice the amount of cuddles and treats. Triplet here. My dog gets slightly confused at first if I've been away. Like if I have to leave him with my parents and one of my sisters goes over, he thinks it's me and runs over all excited, but realizes it soon as he gets close enough to smell them. But it's not me. When I'm there, he has no confusion. He knows who I am and that my sisters aren't me. What's the best response to a Christian saying you're going to hell? It makes Jesus sad when you say that. You seem to have a lot of hate in your heart. I'll pray for you. See you there then. Winky face. Shrug and say, okay, and walk away. You not caring riles them up even more. Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man. Aren't we already here? According to your God, so are you for doing his job and judging. Had an old man tell me I'm going to hell for my tattoos. I said, well, save me a seat for judging me. His wife was at him, not me, lol. Postmen and couriers of Reddit. What's the weirdest state someone's been in while answering the door? Naked dude soaking wet wearing nothing but a Cracker Barrel apron. First time, okay. Second time, something's going on here. One lady opened the door and put her pants in front of me while she signed, and her BF not so discreetly filmed it from behind her. When I was 13, I was sent to the neighbors to get my brother and tell him to come home. The guy opened the door naked, glitter coming out of his pants. He had a towel covering his goods. I asked him if my brother was there, and thankfully he said no. I worked for a laundry delivery service and had a pretty regular route, so I saw a lot of the same customers pretty often. One guy would regularly answer the door in his old saggy underwear. I never reacted until I asked some coworkers if they'd ever experienced that with him. Our service sent text messages to the client with the driver's name, so you could pretty much guess if they were going to be male or female. 100% of the men said no, 100% of the women said yes. Next time I delivered to him, I looked at his crotch, then back into his face and did a hard eye roll, while tsking just audibly. Never did it to me again. Should've had it send a female name, but then switch out and have a male driver and see what he did. I had a guy yell to give him a minute so he could find pants and showed up in only boxers. I asked him what happened to the pants, but didn't get an answer. I delivered a package to someone's porch, placed it on the floor, scanned it. Older gentleman opened the door wearing just his underwear with his dog by his side. Asked me if I was going to leave it there or pick it up and hand it to him. I spoke with a firm no, and then turned to walk away. Do you fart in front of your partner? Why or why not? Cute but kinda sad story. My grandma and grandpa were together for 40 years. My grandma never farted in front of him ever. She was diagnosed with cancer, and after a good battle, was sent home on hospice. The day before she passed, she farted in front of him. It wasn't loud and it really stunk, but we all knew it was her. My grandpa didn't even blink and apologized to us and took the blame. It was something small, but it's been years since it happened and it still gives me that awe feeling. He knew how she felt and her stance about farting in front of her partner. An embarrassed older lady visited her doctor for help with the problem. Doctor, I don't know what's wrong, but I fart all the time. It's strange because they are both silent and odorless, but they keep coming out. In fact, I farted about 6 times just sitting here. What can I do? The doctor replied, here, take one of these pills every morning and then come see me in a week. A week later, the old lady came back to the doctor very upset. Doctor, these pills didn't help. They made it worse. I'm still farting, but now they stink horribly. The doctor replied, good. Now that we've cleared your sinuses, we can work on your hearing. No. I fart behind my partner, so it sneaks up on her. Based. Yes, sometimes I do it by accident and sometimes intentionally. When my partner visits, when we are in bed and we get quiet because they're trying to sleep, I'll randomly let one rip after about 10 minutes of silences and then we'll burst out laughing. Very rarely. I mean, I won't die of embarrassment, but I also won't do it out of respect for the fact that nobody else wants to smell that. The kids, though, I fart on them a lot. No, and for a really weird reason. When I was growing up, my cousins constantly farted. On each other, on me, out in public, obviously in their home. I found it so gross that I swore I'd never fart in front of anyone if I could help it. I've been married for 11 years, and I think I farted in front of my husband 3 or 4 times. I will hold in a good fart and go find my wife to present it to her. Yes, because it's funny. What is the most unusual thing you find attractive? Seeing someone flustered is the best. Watching a woman confidently ride a bicycle through city rush hour traffic. When a girl stands with one foot tilted on its side. When you can see a bit of her ear poking through her hair. It just gets me. Beautiful women driving cars. Shoulders. Yeah, sorry, high school girls, I'm the guy that the school administration was concerned about. I'm kind of oversharing here, but I'm kind of the same way. Oh, do I want to tell this? Do I want to out myself? No, it's fine. I've been playing Stardew Valley recently, and I've been playing modded Stardew Valley, and there's this mod called Stardew Valley Expanded, which add a bunch of characters to the game, and there's this mod for the mod called Seasonal Clothing or something, and so every season the character's clothes will change, and in the fall season for this character Sophia, she's wearing a sweater that hangs off of both of her shoulders, and nothing ever hit me that I was like, oh, that's kind of cute, it's kind of hot, until then, and I was like, whoa, shoulders, the fuck? Out of all things, Mason, editor, I'm really sorry, and it's probably secondhand embarrassment for you here, man, but you know what, I am nothing if I am not honest, all right? I work in Boston sometimes, and seeing a woman in business wear and sneakers is something I've always liked. When men turn up their jeans and you get a glimpse of bare ankle, your username is what awaits for you when you wake up the next day. How bad is the situation? Thunderous Flatulence says, sounds like I won't need to set an alarm tomorrow morning. I destroy your ass. It's bad. Good morning. I have a feeling that I will be all right. Good morning, Starfrack. Same, but different. Spilling hot coffee. Typical. 97 rats in a trench coat. One very strange looking gentleman in a trench coat. Prophecy foretold. I knew this day would come. What made you realize you're old? Everything seems to be an act of letting go. Whenever I have to enter my birth date in a drop-down menu. I was reading Rolling Stone at the doctor's office and realized I hardly knew any of the bands on the Billboard #1 singles list. 90s music to my kids is like what 60s music was to me. When I started mixing cornflakes with Frosted Flakes because Frosted Flakes alone was too sweet. 7-year-old me would be shocked at old me. The first time the barber asked if I wanted my eyebrows trimmed. Viggo Mortensen is now older than Ian McKellen was when he played Gandalf in Fellowship. Music that I listened to as a kid being played on the oldies radio station. Doing nothing became my favorite thing to do on the weekend. You are suddenly unable to lie. How f***ed are you? If that includes lies I tell myself, then very f***ed indeed. I'll find someone who's unable to tell the truth. Together, we'll guard a pair of doors. I want my lawyer. My response to "How are you today?" becomes significantly darker. I'm already very skilled at giving a version of the truth without lying. Life as a civil servant does that to you. I've taken a vow to never answer anyone's questions ever again after a bad experience in the recent past. I'd be perfectly fine. Nothing would change. We haven't started yet, right? No, we haven't, buddy. It's okay. What historical fact have you learned that ruined everything you ever thought you knew about this life? Ancient Antarctica was actually a rainforest, a lush and verdant paradise filled with flora and fauna, despite the interesting fact that there was a whole continent of animals who lived on this planet that we'll never know about, as their remains are locked beneath miles of ice. It blew my mind that Antarctica was only fully froze over about 35 million years ago, despite breaking from its supercontinent 180 million years ago. That means Antarctica supported independent life for about 145 million years, which ruined any sense I have for time and perspective. We really are specks on this planet. There was a Spanish explorer that first visited the Inca Empire and saw lots of prosperous cities and a great civilization, and told his peers about it when he returned home. But when other folks went to visit these said cities, they found nothing but jungle and thought the explorer lied about his story. The fact that blew my mind is that nowadays we discovered that his story was true, and the people he encountered died from diseases brought into the New World, and the cities and civilization they built were consumed by jungle in the span of a few years. More of a fun one, but lighters predate strike matches by a couple centuries. They originated from repurposed flintlock pistols that ignited tinder and shoved in the barrel that were set aflame by the trigger mechanism. It says here in this history book that luckily the good guys have won every single time. What are the odds? Norm Macdonald. What is a popular belief that is scientifically proven wrong? Hiding under a highway overpass is actually not a good way to survive a tornado. It has been scientifically proven that the wind gets concentrated and the speeds increase underneath the overpass. If you aren't shielded by a bridge girder or something similar, you'll just get swept away and mulched. Your best bet for survival if you cannot escape the tornado is to find the nearest deep ditch or hole. Goldfish have a 3-second memory. They don't, and supposedly you can even train them to do tricks. Cracking knuckles equals arthritis. No, it does not. A frog thrown in a pot of boiling water will jump out immediately. If a frog is put in a pot of cool water and that water is slowly warmed, the frog won't notice and boil to death. This is indeed false. The frog will die no matter what. That rice will make the birds who eat it explode. Birds eat rice all the time. It's actually good for them, especially brown rice. I believe this myth was made up so people would stop throwing rice at weddings, but harming the birds wasn't an actual risk. It was getting rice grains stuck in your ear that was. Anything along the lines of the average person eats 8 spiders in their sleep during the course of their life, yada yada yada. That if you shave, it'll grow back longer and thicker. What's a single valuable piece of information you know you would like to share? The most important piece of information you can give 911 is where you are, followed by what the problem is. Even if no other information is given, someone can still be sent to a location to see what the problem is. Bonus, if you accidentally call 911, just stay on the line and tell them there was an accident. It happens a lot. They won't be mad. If you hang up, they have to call you back. That is irritating. Never make a large financial decision without considering all the tax consequences. Also, 20,000 leagues under the sea refers to the distance traveled, not submerged depth. Some credit cards cover accidental damage to electronics for a predefined period of time. Use those cards for buying computers and electronics. Don't drive if you haven't slept in the last 24 hours. A person who has been awake for 24 hours is as cognitively impaired as a person who is drunk. It is perfectly possible to make no mistakes and still lose. That is not weakness, it is life. Yes, it's a Picard quote, but it's very accurate. A dropped knife has no handle, don't try to catch it. If you're outside during a storm and get a metallic taste in your mouth for no seemingly reason, then you're about to get struck by lightning. You always think you're gonna have more time. You won't. Make the most of today. Older women of Reddit, what is something young women are doing that puzzles you? Buccal fat removal surgery. The overdone lip injections. I can't wait for this trend to die. Blasting pictures of their young children all over social media with 1,000 followers. Crying on the internet. I'm talking full-on snot bubble crying. Maybe it's my childhood trauma talking, but I can't fathom having an awful thing happen to me and then whipping out my phone to tell my followers about it, because maybe I have no followers. I just bury it deep and slap on a smile like my mom taught me. That sounds like it's repression, my friend. Taking pictures of yourself all the time. Even as a younger person, I can't imagine doing this. I'm bewildered by women who do not prioritize the ability to support themselves. Botox in their early 20s. There's nothing there. What wrinkles are you trying to fix? What obsolete companies are you surprised are still holding on in the modern world? I had some older woman knocking on my door at like 2 p.m. on a Wednesday trying to come in and give me a demo of a Kirby vacuum cleaner. Also, door-to-door salespeople are apparently still a thing in 2023. Jenny Craig just bottomed up this week. I'm surprised it lasted this long. Blows my mind that AOL.com is still a thing. I read that Netflix just announced they're gonna stop mailing DVDs for rentals in the next few months. I thought they stopped doing that a long time ago. The Yellow Pages. Party City. Their stores are huge, and every time I go, there's less than 10 customers. Applebee's. I can microwave my own food, thank you. What is not the flex that people think it is? My coworkers flexing their $900 car payments for new cars they didn't need to buy with high interest rates. I'm my own boss. Signed an MLM participant. Do you know who my dad or mom or parents are? No one cares. Being proud about being brutally honest when they're just rude. When adults brag about high school sports achievements like that's their whole personality. The I never take days off type who live at work. How bad does your home life have to be? Proclaiming you're an alpha male, in fact, it makes you look like a complete idiot and everyone hates you. Having a huge expensive wedding when you're not a wealthy person. What are you starting to dislike more as you get older? The expectation of being contactable 24/7. Functioning on low sleep. I feel like in the last few years, my body's ability to do so has decreased drastically. It used to be that I could get like 5 to 6 hours a night during the week and recharge with a couple 8 to 10s on the weekend and be largely fine. Now, by the second or third day, I'm feeling really bad and have to pencil in a few hours to recharge. When they rearranged the grocery store, having to manage my body like it's a Tamagotchi. All these warning messages keep popping up, and if I forget to feed it the right things at the right time and put it to bed at the right time and do the right exercises and avoid 73 arbitrary things, it will just start to moan and malfunction. Anything that takes place outside my house. Memories of myself. I remember things I've done, and sometimes it makes me sick to my stomach stomach with shame, or sometimes I remember cool things I've done, and it makes me sad that I'm still not doing these cool things. That my parents are also getting older and the fear of losing them soon terrifies me. Noise. What's the weirdest thing you've been told not to do because it's gay? I don't know, suck a dick or something? No, I'm not gay. I've never done that before. Not gay. I'm a straight man. I just thought it was a funny haha. Carrying a reusable bag for groceries. Here in Colorado, that's the law now. You don't get plastic bags anymore. Well, you do, but you have to pay for them. Drink wine, eat vegetables. That's right, fellas. It's gay to eat vegetables, because you know what? Cucumbers are vegetables, and you know what cucumbers look like? Drinking with a straw because it reminds her of sucking dick. She was serious. That girl has seen some real tiny weens, some real straws. No girth on her mind. Cook. Fellas, is it homosexual to be able to cook food? Taking an umbrella when it's raining. I'm sorry, I don't like getting my hair wet, so I'm gonna bring an umbrella. Hum, or like the color purple. Wow, purple's my favorite color, and I hum sometimes. I'm not gay. My dad used to tell my brothers not to wash their hair so much, or they would turn gay. Dating women. What? Huh? What? I'm so confused on that one.